Hey, Kohila, what would you say to those people that don't believe that oil and gas has a space in the energy transition?
That's an interesting question, Tony. I've been thinking about it myself. I would remind them about the strong history that oil and gas has in this field, operating major accident hazardous facilities, and of course, the knowledge and experience they gained, innovation experience, developing breakthrough technologies, but also, all the safety experience we have gained operating these facilities.
My name is Tony Alfano, and I'm the product line director for the pipeline product line. I've been working with pipeline operators over my entire career. I understand some of the challenges they're going through. Given all the push for renewables, oil and gas seems to take a back seat in the process, but it's key to know that they still will remain fundamental inputs to our energy future.
My name is Kohila Mulazami, and I'm the product line director for Plant Product Line. So I've been working most of my career in safety. Of course, energy transition presents safety challenges, and I'm hoping that we can use the expertise we have to help the industry with the safe and reliable energy transition and decarbonized operations. So Tony, energy transition is high on the agenda. Our energy industry is going through several transitions. Of course, energy transition is one foremost important one. The oil and gas operators and major players are even rebranding themselves to be an energy company to kind of reflect the diversified nature of their future energy mix and economy. And of course, these transitions are presenting challenges and changes to how they operate and what they're going through. Having said that, I strongly believe that oil and gas is sitting at the center of these transitions and have a significantly important role to play to make it happen. Of course, this is the first transition, but then also digital transformation is another area where they use better use of data, and of course the new digital technologies are becoming very important and presenting opportunity for industry as such. And then on top of that, we see the energy demand increases, and of course the energy demand world requires more energy to enhance the standards of living, at the same time power the economy, and as such the oil and gas industry are adopting to also deliver a more decarbonized industry. So with all that changes, where do you see the oil and gas industry is going?
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot going on in the oil and gas space right now. There's all sorts of energy outlooks available, and everybody's got their opinions on that. But in general, we start to see two major patterns. For oil, crude particularly, we're going to see a downturn over the next 50 years time window. As we see more electrification, more electric vehicles on the road, it means less gasoline, less oil needed to produce that gasoline. So that's just a fact. On the natural gas space, what we're seeing is this golden age of gas, as they call it, is coming to an end. So where we've seen over the last decade just massive phenomenal growth year over year, now it plateaus. So it's not that it's going away. We're going to continue to see the need in natural gas, but the fact that the oil goes down, natural gas stays, that's just an undeniable fact that they're going to see moving forward. On top of the transition in products that we're going to see, we're also seeing an undeniable force that is politics. We're seeing governments from around the globe really influencing how things move forward to urge on decarbonization.
So with all this change, what does this mean for the oil and gas operators?
We're seeing enablers like the Inflation Reduction Act in the US play a major part. This has changed the prioritization on decarbonization for an entire country. We're seeing big pushes, an influx of capital to help drive the investment in renewables and also decarbonization in general, which to a pipeline and gas operator, this means injecting hydrogen and trying to find a way to lower their own footprint. So given the shift in these political pressures, it's becoming really difficult to build new. Whether you're a pipeline operator or an oil and gas operator, in general, it's much more difficult than it ever has been to build new. And so the big challenges that are coming out of this are life extension, pushing some of these assets well beyond what their design life, and repurposing. Given the fact that repurposing an asset is drastically cheaper than buying new, we're seeing a lot of interest in the repurposing of these assets.
If I may add, one more challenge we see from the industry is basically shortage of the the skills that are needed for the future, whether it's a digital transformation or energy transition. So that's also something that we kind of we hear from the customers and industry. So Tony, you mentioned life extension is one of the main focus areas going forward. And of course, extending the life of a 25 to 30-year-old asset for another 5, 10, 15 years present technical challenges. So how are the oil and gas industry and companies addressing these challenges?
The Energy Insights report that we put out for 2023, of all of the oil and gas operators that responded, 75% said that the number one priority of where they're going to be spending money on this year is all about data acquisition and pulling it all together, right? We know that data is the enabler of all things. And in this case, to be able to do life extension right, the data that's sitting behind there is really critical to get those calculations correct. So that's definitely the starting point. We're also seeing a common theme. We're seeing these oil and gas operators, or these energy operators, as you're saying, look to evaluate their assets basically on a common playing field. If they've got a pipeline asset, maybe it's a high pressure, low pressure, maybe they've got some facilities in the mix, they want to be able to evaluate all of them with a common risk framework to allow them to truly know that they're putting their limited operating budget into the best use. And so they're turning to tools to help them do that evaluation, as well as trying to help them evaluate, well, what happens if I extend this pipeline or facility out a little bit further? Or what happens if I change the maintenance procedure and extend that or shorten those time periods? And so we're seeing a lot of this experimentation, and it's really critical that the data is right behind those calculations.
So digitalization, of course, play a very important role here, and better use of data. But also what we see and hear is the conversion. So many companies and industries are repurposing their facilities to then introduce hydrogen and CO2, since the hydrogen and CCS or CCUS, or however we call it, are undeniable part of the energy transition for the future. So we are in discussion with a lot of customers that started running feasibility studies around whether they can introduce the hydrogen or CO2 into their energy mix and to kind of repurpose their facilities. And of course, if I take hydrogen as an example, hydrogen has different characteristics, physical and chemical characteristics, compared to natural gas. And it presents different type of challenges, safety challenges that needs to be understood. So a lot of customers who are thinking about repurposing, planning to repurpose their facilities, they're running safety studies, risk studies to understand what additional risks are introduced by adding hydrogen or CO2 into the mix, and of course whether these risks are still within acceptable level or not, and if not, then what additional control measures they need to have in place, whether it's a hardware safety barriers or procedural changes they need to make to operate these facilities more safely. So that's another area that we see, as you mentioned, in terms of the conversion and repurposing.
Definitely.
So similarly for introducing CO2 or you repurposing pipelines for CO2, for example, the companies who have more experience in oil or natural gas, they need to understand what it takes and what are the risks, and also the operating procedures connected to the supercritical CO2 systems as such.
Absolutely. There's, from the pipeline space, particularly for the distribution operators, one of the key challenges for them that's coming out of this is this new future. This blending often is resulting in different inputs going into one system. And so the timeliness of their data is really coming into play. So if you want to operate a system like that safely and get the energy requirements to your clients, like these operators are looking to figure out how they can build these models that they use to make all these decisions a lot faster. So this is just compiling to the digital challenge that's going on right now as part of this transition.
It's a very interesting example. And of course, this is a challenging but also exciting time. I think certainly the oil and gas industry, as we said, sitting at the center of it, they play a very important role. Over many decades, we in the oil and gas industry gained a lot of experience and knowledge operating major hazard facilities that we can leverage that knowledge and competence in the energy transition segment. Now, of course, let's not forget about the role of innovation and technology, breakthrough technologies that will come as part of this. And of course, what we hear from the industry is that a lot of operators, manufacturers, suppliers, engineering companies, and consulting throughout the whole value chain are playing their part in, kind of in the investing in R&D projects and research projects to make this happen, hopefully with the pace needed. It may sound like it's a lot of work to do to meet the energy transition, but also very exciting to work with the industry to make it happen.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Can keep the hand slapping. That's how we end every meeting. So.
Exactly.